Hello, well, welcome to episode 2 of Holte Talk. Just want to say firstly a massive thank you to those that watched the first video and have followed us on Instagram and Twitter and obviously building this. Well, in this episode, we're going to discuss the Tottenham Hotspur postponed game, the fact that Everton's been moved to a Sunday lunchtime, but there's still talks of possible postponement in that game, a little brief on the transfer news, also the racial abuse that Gabby Agbonlahor has been receiving on Twitter and Instagram. And we're going to do a short Q&A at the end of the session. Right, so first we're going to talk about the Spurs postponement. So Seb, firstly, what are your thoughts on the being postponed and obviously the coronavirus outbreak at Villa?
I mean, I think it's not great that we're having to go through this and that we've already got games in hand to be played, because we've just got the Man City date put out and the Newcastle as well. So it's not great, and obviously if a key player has COVID and it does affect them, because I mean they might not be out of this isolation like we saw with Concert. We don't know if that was COVID or illness or whatever, but I think it's something that's had to be done. Do you know what I mean? Because Newcastle and Fulham, they had it in games postponed, so you've got to take it seriously.
Yeah, Luke, what do you think about that?
I think like Seb said, we've already got games in hand. So it's I think the Premier League, we've got to do something about it really. But it's very hard to call because with the Euros coming up this year as well, it's what do you do with the season? Can't. Yeah, postponing the games is all good and that, but the games are just going to build up even more. So if Everton are postponed Sunday, we've got Everton to play, Tottenham, Man City, and is it Newcastle?
Newcastle, yeah.
It's a tough one. Tough one, really. It's right they've called it off. Obviously, Tottenham today, and I do think they should call it off Everton as well Sunday, because we'd only have 24 hours to train, wouldn't we? If we went back to Bognor Heath Saturday, so it's they can't let us play Sunday. It's not. Yeah, you just can't let us play Sunday.
Mourinho had a fair bit to say about it as well. He posted on Instagram I think it was Fulham their game that got called off, wasn't it? It was posting on the morning, says, "We don't know if we are playing today or not." This is kind of a joke. I quite like his honesty, talking about all these postponed games. I feel like.
Well, Scott Parker had a bit of a go, didn't he? About if this was a big team, if this happened to a big team, it would have called it off. But because they've moved Fulham game. Is it today them playing Tottenham? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's he's had a go, but then Mourinho's we've only had the same time to prepare for this game as well. So it's a very hard decision for the Premier League. I mean, what would you two do? What would you do if it was down to you?
I mean, you're saying about with the Fulham and Scott Parker moaning, you can understand why. Obviously, Mourinho's saying he's had the same amount of time. However, if you look at the depth of the squad that Tottenham have got in comparison to Fulham, and Fulham are going to be fighting for their lives at relegation coming into the season, and that they need a bit more time to prepare in order to be able to either rest key players, have key players fit for certain games in order to secure their safety, if that's what they're going to do. But yeah, as you two were saying, it is very hard for the Premier League to do something because we keep having spurts of this coronavirus outbreak coming out of different places. So obviously it could be okay. Obviously, down the road, we've got West Brom, Birmingham, Wolves. None of them have had it, but we've got a massive outbreak of it. And what's to say that, Tottenham aren't going to next week? And obviously, Mourinho's come out and said all this, but if it was to have been him and, Kane and Son was to have passed it round, would he be saying the same? Obviously, as well, I was saying earlier on Twitter, Dean Smith, when he had the press conference with Newcastle, he was very, what's the word?
Confused?
Nah, he was very forgiving of the Newcastle because he's it's not their fault. Obviously, we're in a global pandemic. It's not their fault. It's out of their hands. It's not like they've got an injury and they're making something up.
But then also, how is it getting into the clubs? Because surely the players have got to be following all the social distancing guidelines.
Yeah, I said that last week, didn't I? But as Jordan said, the travelling and everything. So it's and seeing the family members and that. So yeah, it's just a bit shit, isn't it? Really, it's happened to our club this time. It's shit if it happens to any club, really. But it must have been a really bad outbreak. Because I saw Trezeguet post on Instagram the other day saying he's been affected by it. So I just hope the players are healthy. They'll get healthy soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we spoke about the Spurs postponed that should have been scheduled today. Obviously, what are your thoughts on Everton being moved to Sunday? Because I thought that was a really good idea to begin with. Obviously, now they're saying that Bollymore Heath isn't going to be open again until Saturday, which gives us 24 hours to prepare for a tough game, which could as well, from the way that both teams are playing. Obviously, we are looking a bit hopeful, but could be possible for both teams' European push or where they finish in the table. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the preparation time is like quite important, but then you feel like when they do all the team meetings, like that you see in like the Amazon documentary of Spurs, like like the game plans and stuff like that. They can do that like how we're talking on Zoom and stuff like that, but then they can't really practice passages of play and stuff like that to like improve and like counter Everton, and like having 24 hours to do it is quite impossible, insane really, and it like the players will probably be sticking to, a little training regime that the club puts in together in case this happens. So like fitness probably won't be, a question in this. It's just more of being tactically inept against Everton. That's the only bad thing about this.
Yeah, I've seen some of the players being trained at home, like Douglas Luiz. He's been training in his back garden, hasn't he? But like you said, they're not training together, are they? They're training separately.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a tough game to prepare for just under 24 hours. It's like it was good how they moved it to Sunday. That was really good of the Premier League. But like I just don't see how they can carry on with the game.
And it's not a fact that we can just play our youth squad either, because they're not like really registered at all. So, and it'll just be unfair.
Yeah, they moved the games back to like the big clubs. So I don't see how they could like make us play with like a shortened squad. I might be sounding like a salty fan here, but like I just don't see how they can play it.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I agree as well. Obviously, if with today being off and then if Sunday gets called off, that gives us 4 games in hand. I mean, the fixture congestion is bad enough as it is. So how do you see that playing out? Do you reckon it plays out to our favour? Obviously, because we can be a certain amount of points off, say top 4, top 6, and we know what we've got to do. But also, obviously, with fixture congestion, how is that going to affect the players?
I feel like the fixture congestion, like they're professional athletes, they should be able to, play 2 to 3 games in a week, really. Like you play on a Sunday, then Wednesday, and play on a Saturday. So like I think that is easily possible, and there shouldn't be complaints. And like when John McGinn said, I think it was after the Chelsea game, but like they're like really thankful to be in this opportunity and playing, and that we could play every day of the week. Do you know? I feel like the fixture congestion won't matter, but then it's a case of like if we're on good form or bad form, like it can knock us. Like playing so many games in a short amount of time, and if we're like losing them all, then it's not great for the players' morale. Like they just want a little break just so they can, rekindle a bit of spirit and fire.
I think if we had enough time to prepare for the Everton game, I think we would have been fine. And with like the fixture congestion, we haven't had any complaints. Like our players haven't complained at all. Dean Smith hasn't complained. And I think because our side's a very young side, I think we're ready to go, really. I think they'll be eager to play all the games, unlike Jurgen Klopp moaning about fixture congestion and that. But, playing his main side against a under-12s Villa. But, but like I think our team would be fine with the fixture congestion. But it's the fact like we're not getting enough time to prepare for this game Sunday.
The thing is, though, it's all well and good you saying about them getting at Chelsea, but that was every team had to do that over Christmas. Where the thing is we're going to be playing teams who are going to have longer breaks, because if we've got obviously we've got Newcastle, we've got the Man City date already, but Spurs and Everton are, if they come within say 3 days of each other, and Everton and Spurs have a longer break, is that fair on our players? Obviously, I know we can do it, and we've got no complaints from our players. But if Spurs have had a week off and we got a 3-day break after coming back from a tough game away to Liverpool, for example, and we've got to then go and recover and go play Everton or Spurs, would that be fair to someone that's got a week-long break who have played not such a tough fixture before?
Well, I mean, it shows in our players, like sometimes in the games, where we play in a short amount of time, it shows that the players are like quite lethargic in like the last half an hour, 20 minutes of the game. But, well, that's just going to happen. Like athletes will tire, but I feel like, we won't drop off really.
Well, we hope not, but waiting to see for when, if it all gets fixtured. Wow. Next, we're going to talk briefly about the transfer news. Obviously, we've been linked with the Bournemouth winger David Brooks and also the young midfielder from Reading. Is it Olise?
Michael Elise, I think.
Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on the two signings, possible signings?
I feel like David Brooks would be good. Would be a good option even, like, because on the wing, was he left winger, right wing?
I think it's a right.
So we've got El Ghazi
Right
and
winger, I think.
Trezeguet on the right, and then Traore, who's playing in a like central midfield role because obviously Barkley's out. I feel like we'll need it, just for any injuries and that. But if Bournemouth are going to pull our pants down like they did with Tyrone Mings, like charging us 26 million because we got promoted with him, I feel like it's not worth it spending that much money on him.
But do you see him actually? Sorry, Luke, go on.
No, sorry. I don't really know much about the Reading player, to be honest with you. But I know David Brooks is a very good young player. Are we going to buy him or was it loan? I haven't really heard much about it, to be honest. Yeah, I think he's a good young player, but the Reading player I don't really know about personally, so I couldn't really tell you about him.
Do you see David Brooks actually breaking into the first team? Obviously, we've been crying out for a winger from the start of the season, but El Ghazi seems to have pulled his finger out a little bit. He's scoring goals. He's doing what he needs to do. Obviously, we've got Grealish out on the left. Obviously, he's been playing central while Barkley's been gone. But do you actually see David Brooks or Olise actually making it into the starting lineup?
I feel like David Brooks would do because El Ghazi is a very player that thrives on confidence, and if he's had a poor couple of games, then that's when you'll have someone like David Brooks potentially come in, change the game, score a couple goals, and get an assist. But then I feel like with Elise, because he's a younger prospect essentially, if we were to go in for him, we'd buy him for 10 million or something, and then I just see us loaning him back to Reading for the rest of the season, because I don't feel like he could add anything to the Villa midfield at the moment.
Yeah, I can agree with that, to be fair, because our midfield is pretty solid. Obviously, we've got Luiz, McGinn, obviously Barkley to come back, hopefully. I mean, as well, what are your thoughts on the Barkley? Would you go in and buy him, or obviously due to his injuries?
I've heard 30 mil for him, and it's he's very injury prone, isn't he? But I think Barkley is just, we've seen how he changed, how he works with Grealish. He works with Grealish so well because the best mates, aren't they?
Yeah.
So if he can keep his fitness up, and I think it's a shot in the dark, isn't it, really, for a player like that? Because he is quality, but he is injury prone, isn't he? So I would buy him. I definitely would, because he shows signs how good he is in the Villa midfield, and especially against that game in Leicester, 1-0. He just played. Yeah. So it's up to Villa really, but I personally would buy him.
Yeah, I feel like he's changed how we play massively as well. He's a massive key to this high pressing intense system. I feel like if he was playing this with Hurahan and Nakamba, it just would not work whatsoever. So if we can get a good price, this is Aston Villa tax we're talking about here. Everyone wants to charge us a fair amount of money because we're rich, really. But Barkley is a must buy if he can keep his fitness up.
That's what I mean. Obviously, you said about 30 million. Is that too much for a player of injury prone? Obviously, we know he's got the quality. If you were to say he'll play week in, week out, 30 million looks a bargain. But with that injury prone, he's been out with a hamstring injury, we was told he'll be out 2 weeks. Back for the Wolves game, back for the Baggers game. He should have been playing against Chelsea, but obviously he couldn't. Yeah. And now it's taken him 6 weeks. Obviously now all this coronavirus outbreak, he should be back in for either Everton Sunday or our next fixture. But it is, like Luke said, it is a big stab in the dark for someone that is so injury prone.
I mean, I remember Villa saying that when Grealish got injured badly, when he came back and then we won those 10 games in a row. I remember people saying, "Oh yeah, he'll be good to play every week." And then, it's the same with Barkley. The Villa pressers are lying to us because I remember I think it was the game before Newcastle saying Dino said that he'd be in content to play or something, but then he just wasn't there in the squad. It's quite weird how they're lying to the fans. You'd rather be told he'll be out for this set time, but he has had a very bad luck with hamstring injuries, really.
Well, Grealish had himself going back to that when we got the 10-game winning string, and he come out. He said that he actually lied to Tammy for the whole of January, saying he'd be back in order to keep him. Which in the rehabilitation video that's on the Villa YouTube channel, which obviously is worked out in our favour, because I don't think if Tammy would have went, because obviously he was linked with Wolves to go play Premier League football, to go on loan there for the rest of the season. And without Tammy, we would definitely not be in the position we were today, because we haven't had a goal scorer.
The goals he gave us was vital. You know, what was he, 25 goals or something that season? 26 goals?
Yeah.
Something like that. Would you get Tammy Abraham back in the summer, like next summer, like this summer coming? Would you get him?
No, not now.
No.
Anything less than 25 million. But
yeah, I don't know, it's one of them, isn't it? I mean, Watkins, very good player off the ball, second to none. However, he needs to find his goal scoring again. He hasn't scored. Last goal he scored was Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has been unlucky, hasn't he? Like what was the VAR goal against West Brom? That offside at West Ham as well. Yeah, he has been very unlucky, and you know he's showing signs of like his hold-up play is unbelievable, but and he works so hard, he just can't find that finishing touch at the moment, kind of.
But every player needs you know, an introduction year to the Premier League. Like, look at our squad last season. You know, we was way off it, and then now the players have adjusted to like the style of football in the Premier League. Like coming from the Championship or the Belgium League to playing against, you know, the best every week. It's quite a massive step up. And we've learned from last season now, and like the players we've got, they've either got Premier League like years of Premier League experience or like have adapted well. And Watkins will get that. And then next season, he might score like 15 to 20 goals or something.
I mean, your prime example of that you saying is, I mean, Timo Werner. He's the next big thing, quality in the Bundesliga. He's come out and admitted that he can't deal with the physicality in the Prem, and he's now looks to be nowhere near the price tag that Chelsea paid for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Abraham, would he come in and possibly not know that he was first choice behind Watkins? I think if he leaves Chelsea, he'll be going to a club in which he will want to play and he will start.
And he's loved in Villa, really. But like, I saw he's missed like the most big chances for Chelsea or something last year. So I feel like with the amount of opportunities we get, you know, in the penalty area and stuff like that, Abraham would be a 15 goal to 20 goal a season striker for us. But
you reckon in the Premier League?
Yeah, like with the chances that we provide for him, like him and Grealish would have some good link up, and then, you know, Cash sending in crosses. I feel like he'd score plenty.
Personally, I'm not convinced by that. I mean, I don't think he has. It possibly in a few years' time, but I still don't think he's got that in him. Obviously, we've seen him in the Championship, but it's a completely different kettle of fish to letting flipping. The difference in defenders and that. And like you said, he's missed the most big chances. I mean, at Chelsea, he's getting as many chances. Obviously, he'd probably play more at Villa because we're not as good as Chelsea. But will he actually, if he can't score him at Chelsea, can he score him at Villa? I can't see why he would.
True. Just gotta. I mean, it probably wouldn't happen. Yeah. And Snodgrass. Snodgrass going to West Brom.
Oh, Snodgrass.
That's heartbreaking.
I saw your tweet earlier. Said, well, the other day it was like, can't trust loan. What was it again? Can't trust loan players these days.
Yeah, can't trust loan players, just like girls. Like part 2 to feet that blew up. But it is quite devastating because Snodgrass was a proper cult hero, even though he was on loan for a season. Like that goal against Sheffield United, you know.
It's like now, would Snodgrass get in our team now?
No,
I don't think he would. But it is disappointing to see him join the dark side.
I mean, it's a lot. It's with these players. I feel like the characters they bring with them. Like he's a presence in the changing room. Like I was saying about Neil Taylor last week. Neil Taylor's a character in the changing rooms, which is why he's still around. And I think that's a good thing to have players like that. And Snodgrass was that when he was with us, but to go to Albion just like that is really heartbreaking.
I'll always remember that goal against Sheffield United.
Oh, mate, that's quality.
Yeah.
It looked like a boring 0-0 game. We were literally, I was at that game and we were ready to leave. And we just see Snodgrass run out. We're like, we'll watch this attack and then we'll go. And when he scored, everyone's mood just switched like that. Everyone's gone from leaving to bouncing about, and it's like what 94th minute or something like that.
Talking of leaving games early, I'm guessing you two stayed at the Sheffield United one. It was 3-3.
3-3.
I missed every goal. I missed every goal.
I went at 3-0.
I was about to leave, and then we scored the first goal, and then my mate goes, "Come on, we might as well see it out. There's a train, plenty of time after the game." I was like, "Okay, fair enough." And then that last goal, O'Connell's mistake, McGinn, Green, fucking hell, that was mad. You just, because in Lower North, you just run to the away fans, celebrating and giving it the big one. Like, that's the type of stuff that I'm missing right now as well.
That's what I mean. It's games like that and songs like that are like, why can't we be there now? I mean, imagine the 7-2 game and things like that. Imagine the carnage at Leicester when we beat them 1-0 in the last minute.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, that would have been mad.
I miss it.
Oh, mate, probably.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Right, anyway, on to the next, and we've got, obviously, I'm sure everyone's seen and due to have seen all the racial abuse that Agbonlapor's been getting recently. What are your thoughts on that?
Go on, Luke. You can say first.
Oh man, it's just disgusting, isn't it? Really, like,
yeah.
I know he's a piss taker and that on Twitter and everything. Like, but that's Gabby, isn't it? But like, there's just no need for that behaviour, is there? Like
there's rivalries in that, but
yeah, for months now, like we've had like Black Lives Matter, Kick It Out, all shown on like Sky Sports and before the games and that. And it just feels like there's people like this who just ruin it, and like they're just not learning from like what's being taught, and it's just like there's no need for it really.
I mean, like I was saying, just there's rivalries, and then there's that, because it's obviously from all the Blues fans, really. Not trying to paint them in a bad light or anything, but it's not needed, especially in the modern day. Like, it's terrible that people still have to go through that, and like he posts it and like names and shames them, so they get a bit of abuse back, kind of. Like, that's not good. Like, like it should be dealt with, but I don't know. I mean, obviously it's negative.
Wasn't it a Leeds fan this time? Didn't he post a picture of him pointing at the scoreline after the corner?
There was a Leeds fan. I don't think there was all Leeds fans, but there was one Leeds fan, yeah.
Yeah. No, I've seen two that he put up. I think one was a Leeds fan and one was a Blues fan. But like you said, it is his character, and he's always been the same. He's always been a bit of a shithouse, as people like to call him. But he loves to just take the mick out of everyone. Obviously, he's a Villa lad, so the rivalry with Blues is always going to be there. And obviously, he's come out and said stuff about Leeds. Obviously, we did lose 3-0 to him. Obviously, we don't want to talk about that, but he's still stuck by that character with all the stick he got off him. But more importantly, though, about it is, how do you reckon this can be stopped? Obviously, people can't control other people's social medias. Obviously, Instagram, Twitter, they can delete their account and that. But what's to say they're not going to make a fake account, or one of their friends or something will then carry this on?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just keyboard warriors, because I'd never say it to Gabby's face in public. Like, you can say anything behind a phone and like be protected, apart from like get a few people messaging you. Like, you can't police it, but something does have to be done about it. Like, I feel like racism, like, it's just fucking awful, really, and you can't really do much about it. And you can't get a police officer knock at your door saying you've sent these messages, you're going to jail for 5 years.
Going off the racist. Sorry, Luke, go on.
I think it's good now that players are more like coming out and showing the world now. That's what's good about social media now, because like when racism was like saying like my dad's era of football, like it wouldn't be spoken about as much. But now like social media is like a huge thing. It's like the major role in our life now, isn't it? Really, just like it can be shown more. It's like it's shown more, isn't it? Now it's like globally, like Gabby's shown this person in our light, and like he's just shared it, so everyone would be like, right, he's a prick, like.
Yeah.
So I think if players keep showing more like what is going on, I think the accounts can be blocked. But like you said, it can't be policed. Like Twitter is one of the most toxic platforms on the internet.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, I don't know how you can physically stop it.
One of our fans were guilty for it not long ago, weren't they, against Zaha when we played Crystal Palace?
Yeah.
But as well, off the going off the racist tangent, you say about it being policed. We had not long after we beat Blues a couple of seasons ago in that 1-0, and was it Alfie Perkins who gave Grealish all that stick about his younger brother when the younger brother passed away?
Yeah.
Well, that got sorted by a fellow Blues fan?
Zulu Baz.
Weren't it One-Eyed Baz?
Yeah, Zulu Baz.
So you see that. So you've got a football hooligan who will hate Villa with a passion, been fighting Villa fans throughout of his life, probably hates Villa more than anyone else, but he's still got that respect out of another person just for the loss of someone's family in order to sort it out. But yeah, it's got to be stopped somehow. But like you said, it is hard to.
Yeah.
I think Gabby should keep carrying on being the way he is as well. Like stuff like this shouldn't stop the way he is, and I think he will carry on being the way he is because why should he stop?
I mean, it's his character as well and demeanor over social media. Like that's his character, on TalkSport. It's good to be a bit controversial and raise his talking points, and Gabby does that very well.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, we've got a Q&A as well. We've had a few questions, but I just wondered before, is there anything else you thought that we should talk about or address on the matter of anything?
I think we covered all the weekly stuff, so let's go.
I mean,
Q&A now.
On Twitter, it blew up a bit about Jordan Amavi coming to Villa, but I don't see because he's because we was on about getting a left back in the last episode, weren't we? Yeah. And we was on about Rico Henry, and I completely forgot about Jordan Amavi.
Just in one word, would you have him back? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
He's playing some really good football at the moment. I think it'd be a good addition. Give it Target. A kick up his ass.
Even when we had him there, he's a bright spark in a poor team.
Yeah,
I liked him.
A very poor team.
Yeah, worst team I've ever seen. But
it's crazy though, isn't it? Because we had Amavi and Idrissa Gueye, and they're both playing in the French league. Guy's playing for PSG, Marvi's playing for Marseille. It's just
Veretout as well. I think
he's doing well
since he's left.
Plays for Roma now. Plays for Roma, doesn't it?
He went from Saint Etienne, Fiorentina, and then Roma. I think
but still, old names.
I would have Amavi back.
Yeah. All right, so I just mentioned as well, we've had a few questions off Twitter. First one we got was, who's your current favourite Villa player, but you can't pick Grealish? Seb?
I'm going to go for Matty Cash at the moment because on form he's a terrific player and he's a good character and speaks about Villa in a very positive light since coming in. And he's not giving Gilbert a look in or a chance to earn a spot. So based on consistency in form, Matty Cash is by far my favourite player at the moment.
Even after shushing Holte ending that 5-5 draw last year. Glad you season 4 even.
Yeah, he respects Villa, He's a good lad. I like him.
Luke, what about you?
Mine's got to be Meatball.
Yeah, I've got the same. I've got McGinn as well.
He's just a character. His character's unbelievable. When he dressed up as a turkey on Christmas, and he's just he's a top bloke, isn't he? And he's a great midfielder as well. I call it the McGinn spin. It used to be called the McGeady spin. It's the McGinn spin.
Yeah.
How much did we buy him from Gibbs? Was he
2.5 million?
Yeah. What a bargain! He's just he's a great player, and he's obviously. Oh, sorry. He's just he's best mates with everyone, isn't he? Really, he's he's a great player.
He's
the only good thing Steve Bruce did for the club was
and his goal against Sheffield Wednesday. Oh, man.
Best goal I've seen live. Don't think it'll ever be topped either.
That was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I've also gone for McGinn. Obviously, like you've said, his character, he's a good footballer, and as well, I think he does give that dressing room a lift, and his attitude as well on the pitch, like you mentioned earlier, with Chelsea, that he'll give his all for the club every game.
He don't stop running, does he?
No, he doesn't. For 90 minutes, he's just a ball of energy, and that's the sort of player you need in the middle.
And I think last season when we was nearly relegated, he obviously got injured against Southampton. And he was out for a long while, and I feel when we missed him, he would have played a vital part in that season of like
100%,
keeping us
yeah.
up. So like we're lucky that he came back in the end. So, but like it just proved how much we missed him last season. Like, how long was he out for? I can't really remember off the top of my head.
Few
Quite a
months,
while.
yeah.
He was out for a while, but like yeah, he's just a great player. Love him. Love meatball.
Right, our next question we've got is your best and worst memory of Villa. We'll start with the worst, just get it out of the way.
Wants to go
I'm
first.
going to go for the playoff final loss against Fulham. Like the way we lost that game, you know, and then they went down to 10 men. It was just a really gutting, heartbreaking feeling because that was my first time at Wembley with Villa, and it was just quite torrid, really. So
yeah,
I think
I've personally,
Oh, hello.
I've personally gone for the relegation season, and more importantly, the game we lost 3-2 to Leicester from 2-0 up. It's a Grealish first goal. Carlos Gil come on 2-0, looked all right, and I think when we went, that just dropped all the morale. And I know it was early on in the season, but it dropped everyone's head. Obviously, we've now got Grealish and that who could carry the team. Obviously, he was a young lad then. We didn't have no standout player in order to drag us back up. The dressing room was toxic as it is, and I think that's probably the game that did ruin our season.
I've gone with the playoff final against Fulham as well. It was just a bad day, weren't it? Like you said, they went 10 men down. We thought, you know, come on, we'll push out for the win here. We'll get at least a goal to go to extra time.
yeah,
But just we didn't have a corner that game, did we, at all? We didn't have a corner for 90
the
minutes.
days of Lewis Grabban and Scott Hogan, fucking hell.
Yeah, it was just a poor game, really.
Typical
It
Bruce.
was a poor playoff as well from us as well. I mean, we only beat Borough.
One goal from a set piece over 180 minutes.
Yeah.
But for Alan Hutton to man-mark Adama Traore for, you know, 180 minutes of football, that's quite a mad thing.
See, I find it quite weird that he did pick. Obviously, it wasn't the best day. It was a pretty rubbish game. However, looking back now, if we went up, would we be in that position now against Fulham? I think that extra year in the Championship, we managed to. I know, obviously, we thought we were going to lose Grealish, Chester, and obviously the owners wouldn't have taken over. We'd still have Giroud in charge. Would Smith be there? Would everyone still be there? Would we be in the position we were today without that loss?
If we went up that year, we would have become the next West Brom, you know, be a yo-yo club, because we weren't going to progress under Tony Shire at all, really. And then, like, if we still stuck with Steve Bruce, it just wasn't great. And then with all this, like, you know, the HMRC tax wind up and stuff like that, I feel like we kind of needed that as like a reality check for the club. And then for Nassef Soares and Wes Edens to come in, that was a tongue twister that for me, bloody hell. I feel like it's a massive thing, you know, to boost our squad and invest so much money into it. It's great. So I'm kind of thankful for that relegation.
It was a blessing in disguise, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a blessing in disguise, very much so.
So obviously now we've got rid of the worst. What's the best memory of Villa you got? I think we are all going to say the same thing probably, but
For me personally, I'd say staying up last game of the season last year, sorry. So that was just a really good like day, like as a fan, that, you know, the social and Witten Arms. So
yeah, meeting you there. I didn't even know you then. That's crazy still.
Gone to uni. It was brilliant.
What about you, Luke?
I think for a game I've been to, I'm going to say playoff finals against Derby, because that was just an amazing day. But for like a game I watched on telly was Grealish 1-0 against Birmingham.
So I thought that's what we were all going to say. I'm surprised Seb didn't say that.
I just went through like a game I went to really, but like as a fan in whole, it's got to be the 1-0. It's just that carnage in the away end. It was just like mental. I should love to have been there. I don't know. I knew you was there, weren't you, Seb?
Yeah.
You say you was there. Oh,
just about got a ticket as well.
I'd love to have been there, but yeah, that's probably the two best memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's also the Blues away game. Obviously for Grealish to get tapped and win a winning goal as well. Obviously that was when we had our backs to the wall. Obviously we beat Derby, but we still we didn't know if that was a one-off result in a poor run of form. Obviously, we went on to win the 10 games in a row, and that
I
was
was
just.
going to say, best memory is probably winning 10 games in a row. That was very
That
good.
was quite a good moment, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
it
like,
was.
I feel like that 4-0 win against Derby, though, when Grealish first came back and scored that volley, that
Was a really good game and turning point, obviously, in the season. Then Stoke away the game before when we drew, was it 2-all? No, 1-all.
1-1 at
yeah,
Dover.
1-1,
Adama,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because
Oh,
Grealish
brilliant.
captained the game after, didn't he? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
first came back, so all changed from there, didn't it, for us?
Yeah. Right, our next question we got is what's the best away ground? We're going to do, I think to do this, we'll do one that you haven't been to that you want to go to and one that you've actually been to.
Okay. The best away ground that I've been to, I'd say, is the new Spurs stadium. That was unreal. Like the first game of the season there, and going from Wigan away to that is really good. And then a ground I want to go to. Is it Premier League or just like wherever in Europe or international?
You do any, mate, whichever you want.
I'm gonna say. I mean, I don't like Barcelona, but I want to go to the Camp Nou. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it would be great with Villa in the Champions League. You never know, but
Yeah, this season when we go to the Champions League.
yeah. But Camp Nou is what I want to do because it just looks really good there.
I have been there on a tour. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'd like to go there again. For me, best away ground I've been to. Tough one, really. I didn't really like Chelsea because I thought that I don't really like.
Too small, the away end.
For where I've been, probably Nottingham Forest. I haven't been to many away games as you two, but I'd say Forest. That away game I went to, was it 3-1?
Yeah, the McGinn brace and Courtney House. Yeah,
yeah, it was just a good game, and I like the fact that the home fans were above us as well, so you can just go up to them and just do all that shit. A ground I'd like to go to. It's a one out there, but I'd love to go to Boca Juniors ground.
that would be something else there. Yeah,
Because after watching Copper 90's documentary with Boca Juniors versus River Plate, mate, I just want to go. It's when the fans go all the way forward.
Looks mental there. I mean,
yeah,
South American fans, they just do it different. They're so passionate.
Yeah. African fans as well, because I went to Morocco once. My friend's dad is a Wydad Casablanca fan.
Yeah.
And whilst we was there, they was playing Raja, the both rivals.
Oh yeah.
And the fans are just something else. It's just crazy. Like you could see like the flares from like afar from the ground.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. But yeah, that's probably like a ground I'd like to go to as well. Wydad Casablanca. What about you, George?
I mean, the best away ground I've been to is probably, not gonna lie, is the best ground in England in my opinion, is the Old Trafford. I mean, it's a library compared to your home fans. Poor atmosphere, but it's just a great stadium. I would like to go to the new Spurs stadium if it was to be in England, but I've been on a tour there, but never. I've been on a tour of this one, but I'd love to go to Dortmund just to be for a game.
Yeah. Would you rather be in the yellow wall or look at it?
I'd like to do both. Obviously, if I was going with Villa, I'd rather be in the away end. But
if you went there as a
as a neutral, I'd want to be in the yellow wall, but I'd love to go there. I'd just love to go there. To be fair, for a game.
There's loads of grounds really, like Ajax's ground and
but yeah, if I was going for one in England, it would be the new Spurs stadium that I haven't been to. Although I am a fan of the old-fashioned ground, and that is why when we was in the Championship, I did like Hillsborough. But still, I don't think Old Trafford will be topped as an away ground that I've actually been to for many years. Our next question we've got: what was your favourite ever Villa game? This one you've had to have been at then.
Well, there's no pondering on this for me. It has to be Blues away. The Grealish 1-0, Grealish getting punched is just, the best game I've ever been to. That was my first away game at Blues. It's unreal. Like the atmosphere, the day, like getting the train to Birmingham and you know, you've got so many butterflies in your stomach, and then you're getting that police escort, and you rock up, and you just hear the fans. You know, it's mad, absolutely mad.
Mine's Villa versus Albion playoffs because, like, as you two know, I despise Albion. I hate Albion. You know, it was one a day that was like being in the Witten in the tent. It was just like everyone setting flares off. It was just a great day. And that Conor Huron goal as well. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I pulled the sickie off work for that game as well.
Yeah, mine was a toss-up to beat. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I think my manager knew because like she follows football as well, and she was like, "Oh, don't worry." And then when I went into work a couple of days after, she was like, "How was the football?" I was like, "What football? I didn't go to any."
Yeah, to be fair, mine was a toss-up. The Albion game, I probably topped it, but as well, the 4-2 against Blues, it was one of my. Obviously, I'd been to Villa Blues games before, but it didn't mean as much to me. Obviously, now you understand the football. You can go to the pub, you could have a beer and that, and actually to be able to go there and get the proper atmosphere in the pub before the game and actually be there, it was quality. But yeah, it's got to be the playoff West Brom.
I think another great game I've been to as well was the 5-5 against Forest.
Yeah,
that was just a mental game as well. And Leicester away in the cup, the first leg.
Yeah,
that was quality.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to that one.
The atmosphere,
that would be a good game.
Yeah, the atmosphere was crazy that night.
Next question we got is, where do we realistically see Villa finishing this year? Obviously, we've touched in this. We've all give the hopeful Europe, but realistically, where do you think we do finish?
I can only see us like, as long as we keep like a good form going and picking up points, grinding out 1-0 and 2-1 wins. I'd like to see us finish in the top 8, but anything above last season's a massive improvement. So if we finish between 10th and 6th, that's a very good season for us, and then we can build on it next year, and push for Europe. Top 10, I'd go for then.
Yeah, I said the same. I said 10th if we keep playing the way we are now. But I think if Ollie gets his confidence back and Barkley comes back like how he started the season, I think like 8th or 7th. But
yeah,
if we finish anywhere like we are now, I'll be over the moon. Like if you told me at the start of the season Villa will finish in the top 10, I'd be like, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I've said 9th, but I mean, it depends really. Like I said on the first episode, it all depends on this little run we've got. We've got a very hard run coming up. If we can come out of that with a decent amount of points, then that may go up. But if we come out of it with 0 points or go down, like it's one of them. But like you said, I would like no less than top half at least this season.
Definitely.
Next question we come on to is favourite Villa player growing up. Who's yours, Luke?
My favourite Villa player growing up was Martin Larsson.
Good choice.
It's a shame he was injury prone as well, but I loved Martin Larsson. I think I can't remember what season it was, but he was scoring I think he scored 8 or 9 in the season for a centre back.
07-08 under Martin Neal.
And he was just I loved Martin Larsson. He was like the first player I remember seeing he's the standout player I remember seeing at a game when I was young. He was just the one standout player for me. I just really liked him. It was a shame he couldn't play more for Villa. He was injury prone, wasn't he?
What about you, Seb?
For me, I'm gonna go with Gabby. It's a generic one, really, but I've not supported Villa like a whole long time myself, but he scores against Blues all the time. A cult hero. He's a brilliant player, brilliant character, and probably one of the best cult heroes I've had the joy of watching really at Villa.
Yeah. Obviously, as you go further down the line and you ask your parents and that, you've got the likes of Dion Dublin, Paul McGrath. Obviously, we went around to see that. Personally, for myself, I've gone for a strike partner, Carew. I don't know what it was. There was just something about him. Obviously, Gabby, Villa legend, Premier League top scorer, loves the club. But there was just something about Carew. I mean, I think as well, it was the first real chant I got to know about he's bigger than me and you. And I don't know, I was just crazy for Carew at the time. But
My favourite player is Gene McCoon. Anyone remember him? Oh,
yeah. Mate, we've had some poor players over the time.
Stephen Ireland. He's actually all right though.
Our next question actually links in with the first episode, and it's how far can Louis Barry go? What are your thoughts on him, Seb?
I mean, he's only 17, really, isn't he? But the way he was hyped up at Albion and then getting the move to Barca and coming back to Villa, I feel like he can go all the way to the top, but he's only 17, and like we can't really hype him up so much now. Like he needs that loan experience in like a League One, League Two side when he's like 18, 19. But from the glimpses we've seen and like, you know, the clips you see on YouTube, that kid, the sky's the limit for him. Like he's got the same potential as Grealish, if not higher.
Yeah, if he keeps his head down and like doesn't like get into trouble, and all that, I think he'll be a great player. I don't think we should put too much pressure on him. Like you said, Seb, he's 17, and like he's still a kid. So I think a few more seasons in the academy, maybe play a few cup games here and there, like next season or something like that. Maybe a loan out. But yeah, like he can go really far. Louis Barry can, and like last season as well, when we was like looking for like a striker when Samatta was not good at all. Wesley was out. We were like the fans were like crying out for Louis Barry to like just play a game. But like, yeah, I think
feel like you can rush a player's development by doing that, just chucking them in when they're 16, 17, and you know, if they have a bad game, fans will hate them probably because our fans tend to be quite fickle at times.
I think, our fans are very, I think like it can sometimes work. Like when Marcus Rashford made his debut for Man U, he just, the rest is history for him.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't know. I think if give Louis Barry a few more seasons, and then I think he only joined the academy last season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He just needs time, and I think he'll be a great player for Villa.
What do you think, Gordon?
I agree with Perry. I think he's obviously, like you said, people were talking about him at 16 about possibly being a first team player. I mean, like you said, that could be a bad thing for him. It could be a good thing. I mean, he didn't get much chance to show himself against Liverpool, but the one chance he got, he took. And it's nice to see, again, one of our own come through the academy. But yeah, I do agree. I wouldn't put him, like you say, people saying, get him in instead of Davies. Personally, I wouldn't yet. I'd let him continue his development in the academy, see what he can bring. But yeah, I think it would only be himself stopping him if he is to not make it.
Definitely.
But I mean, it is a cliche thing to say, but we have this with loads of players. There's loads of players that should reach the top and don't, but I think he could be special with hard work and as long as he's not rushed into anything as well. Next, we've been asked, where do you see the club in 5 years? And they also said that, would you like to see us run like Dortmund have been?
5 years' time, lifting the Champions League. Nah. I think we'll just be a stable club in the Premier League again. Like I knew we would be back in the Premier League. It just took a few seasons to, and I just think we will be like a top middle side, maybe like pushing for like Europa League every season. Maybe that's just me being optimistic in that. But I think we will be a stable Premier League side once again. Like we won't be like relegation battle every season. I think we will be like just very stable.
Yeah,
personally,
I've just sorry.
Okay, I feel like in 5 years' time we'll be like, you know, gunning for Europa League every season from then on, like aspiring to that. If you know, like if we have a decent campaign in Europe or something, or you know, I feel like that's what we'll be doing, and we'll probably, I'd say, we'd win a trophy within the next 5 years, whether it be a League Cup or FA Cup. Like we need something like that because we can't have Blues going, oh, we've only won the last most important trophy in the last decade or whatever. We can't be having that anymore. So hopefully something in the next 5 years.
See, I've just said progression. Obviously, every season I just want to see us finish higher. Obviously, ideally we will get into Europe or something like that. But I mean, with the owners, we've got rich, ambitious owners. And I mean, obviously, last season people were questioning Dean Smith, but he looks like he could be an established coach. Obviously, he's now got Craig Shakespeare, I think, has been a massive thing. And I think someone who goes under the radar a lot is Neil Cutler. And I think with O'Kelly, JT, Shakespeare, Cutler, and Smith, I think we could go far, especially, like I said, we've got rich, ambitious owners. But yeah, I just like to see us progress. Say if we just finish 10th this year, like even if it's only 9th next season, just keep progressing and progressing.
Exactly, yeah.
I think I like let our academy grow as well. So there's already plans of like a new academy being built, isn't there?
Yeah.
And it's just like I think I see our academy going far as well, because like we're not in the highest like position at the moment with our under 23s. I think.
Yeah.
We're not in the highest position at the moment, but I think like we showed. Was it Friday? I've lost the days at the moment. We've got potential with our academy, and if we keep like growing players, it'll just the academy will be a high potential thing for us.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think that Longe coming in has helped that a lot. Obviously, a few signings we bought have been in for the academy that are future first teamers, which I think is going to help us a lot. And like you said, we've seen Friday what they could do.
Like Sil Swinkles and Ben Crisine are supposed to be quite good. Like Ben Crisine is 16 from Exeter, yeah.
He's signed for a contract there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that Lamar Bogard, I think he's signed from Feyenoord or something.
I'm sure, but he did look good on the weekend.
Yeah.
Our last question we got is what is Grealish's best position, in your opinion?
I mean, I think we've all gone for the same one here, and that's on the left wing and rotating, with the left and right, because it's free flowing. It allows him to be creative and cutting in, and he sees more of the game from there. Like when he first started playing there, he went missing a bit and got a bit lost, but now he's like a lot more physical and dominant on the ball. That's definitely his best position.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's like a few times last season, our fans were like, "Oh, play Grealish in the middle. Why isn't Dean Smith playing him in the middle?" I think now he's like developed as a very talented left winger, or right winger. But he free roams, doesn't he, Grealish? Like he'll go back to defend if he wants to. He'll go wherever he wants to. But I think his position there is suited for him.
Yeah, I do agree on the left as well. Like you said, that he does free roam. He'll do a job anywhere, but if you're playing him in that 10 role and he does come back on defence to get the ball to try and relieve a bit of pressure against the top teams like he does, is leaving that. Because obviously, as a number 10, you want him to find that pocket between the middle four and the back four. But because he likes to come and pick the ball up and relieve pressure off defenders and comfortable with the ball anywhere, I think the left is better suited to him. However, in that England team, will he get in on the left or will he be playing more central? That's the only thing.
That's how he got called up on the left wing. So, I mean, it's his position to make his own and dominate. I mean, he's got Greenwood, Sterling, and Rashford to compete with for that position. So, but Grealish offers, each of those players offer something different going forward. But I feel like with the team Southgate ideally wants and the style of football the England fans want to see and the Villa fans want to see is, Grealish on the left, controlling the game from there.
This may be a controversial comment I'm going to make, but I personally think other than Sterling, Grealish is better than both Rashford and Greenwood. Well, right now he's better than Sterling because he hasn't been on form. It is Grealish, but I personally see him in a better
than Greenwood, yeah. But Rashford, I think he's obviously performing better. Grealish is like by far, but like, yeah, I think next episode we should talk about like England, like what we should do for the Euros. I think that's could be one.
Right, it might be our only choice if these both get postponed.
I mean, unless they pull a signing out the blue, I mean, you never know.
Wow, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the end of our Q&A, and that's the end of today's episode. Thank you all for tuning in.